What if the biggest threat to Uganda's election isn't vote rigging, isn't internet shutdowns, but a crisis designed to cancel the election entirely, just to stop Bobi Wine from ever reaching State House? Be honest. Do you think elections in Africa are sometimes stopped on purpose when power feels threatened? Yes or no? And if an election is canceled, who really benefits? If you believe elections should never be erased by manufactured chaos, hit the like button and share this video wherever freedom-loving people still care about democracy.
What happened in Guinea-Bissau, I wouldn't call it a coup. It was not a coup. It was a ceremonial coup.
Africa has already seen this playbook. In Guinea-Bissau, the world was told a military coup had taken place. But former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan said something that changed the conversation. He warned that it was not a normal coup, but a stage-managed plot allegedly facilitated from within government to bypass elections and reset power. That statement mattered because it exposed a dangerous truth. Sometimes chaos is not rebellion. Sometimes chaos is strategy.
What happened in Guinea-Bissau, I wouldn't call it a coup. It was a ceremonial coup. Because for two things, it is the President Ballot, that announced the coup. Before later, the military man came up to address the world that they were in charge of everywhere. Then Mbalo has already announced the coup, which is strange. Not only announcing the coup, but Mbalo, while the coup took place, was using his phone and addressing media organizations across the world that he has been arrested. I'm a Nigerian close to 70, and I know how they keep heads of state when a coup takes place. Recently, I was a mediator in Mali, an ECOWAS mediator in Mali, and within that period, we had a military coup. Military don't take over governments, and the sitting president that they overthrown will be allowed to be addressing press conferences and announcing that he has been arrested. Why does this happen? Who is fooling who? Basically, what happened in Guinea-Bissau is quite disturbing to me, who believes in democracy. In fact, I feel more pained than the day I called Buhari to congratulate him when I lost the election as a sitting president. Because I've been quite particular about Guinea-Bissau. As a sitting president, then, Guinea-Bissau was in crisis. Started by about 2012. By 2011, we have to go physically. We worked with them and made sure that by 2014, we went 2013, elections were conducted. In fact, it was so bad the day that I learned that a military man went to the office of the prime minister and slapped the prime minister in the office. It was that bad. And what is happening is like we are going back to those dark days of Guinea-Bissau, where the military can do whatever they think they can do.
Across the continent, history shows a clear pattern. When long-serving leaders sense elections slipping away, they don't always lose at the ballot box. They change the environment. Emergencies are declared, institutions are suspended, or a sudden security crisis makes elections impossible. Political scientists call this succession engineering. Power is preserved internally while the outside world sees instability. The outcome is always the same: no election, no transition. Now bring this logic home to Uganda. Youth pressure is rising, political momentum is shifting, and Bobi Wine remains the most serious electoral threat the system has faced in decades. So here's the uncomfortable question many Ugandans whisper but rarely say out loud. What happens if elections suddenly become impossible? Because a coup, real or staged, does one powerful thing. It freezes democracy without a single vote. If you see the pattern, type Plan B in the comments.
General Museveni yesterday said that we transport our crowds with us. It's interesting, but again, I don't look at General Museveni with anger. I look at him with pity. We must all understand to be kind. I know that courtesy of his age is being fed by false intelligence. But I also know that Museveni is a chronicle liar. Now here is a man accusing us of the things that he actually does. You all know that he ferries crowds, and when he can't ferry them, he orders school head teachers, primary or secondary, to forcefully bring the pupils or students in his rally venues and dress them in yellow t-shirts. You've seen that everywhere. And even when they go there, they're not allowed to leave, not even for a short call, because he has to posture. You also know that the police and military has been closing roads on us, and where we've been allowed to pass, not more than 5 cars are always allowed to pass. So how are we transporting crowds? You notice that the police and military, even when we are moving in the dusty roads where they allow us to pass, they always stop borders from following us. You have been following. Every roadblock is meant to stop supporters, borders, who we don't even know where they're coming from, but they are joining us as a show of solidarity. They stop them in order to deny us crowds. But because he knows that everywhere we reach, there are crowds of people that are yearning for a message of a new Uganda. So, like I said earlier, I don't want to be in the business of exchanging accusations with General Museveni. In our culture, we are taught to respect elders even when they don't respect themselves.
Let's be clear. A coup doesn't need legitimacy. It only needs confusion. Once confusion sets in, elections are postponed, pressure becomes divided, citizens are told to wait for stability, and waiting is how democracy dies quietly. History shows us, when elections disappear at the last minute, it is rarely an accident. It is usually designed. So I'll ask you directly, do you think Africans now recognize a stage-managed crisis when it appears? Or do we only understand it after elections are gone? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. If you value independent African journalism that isn't funded by governments, parties, or foreign interests, you can support this work by gifting us a super thanks below. It helps keep Afriscope TV independent, and it helps stories like this stay alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you as a typical Ugandan. I've grown up in your faces. I've grown up from the lowest of society to here where I am today. I am a symbol of resilience, a symbol of discipline. I came from the ghetto, the worst of character. But to be that I'm a happily and decently married man, well educated and all that, that speaks of my character. Ladies and gentlemen, I present myself to this generation, to unite this generation, to uplift this generation, to stop our tribalism, to unite the country. And with your support, with your endorsement, I am sure we can all change Uganda. I've said it before and I say it again. I don't present myself as the most capable or the most educated or the oldest or the most experienced, but the most committed to lead this generation out of slavery. When you vote for me, when you vote for the National Unity Platform, you'll be voting to end 40 years of dictatorship. You will be voting for servant leadership. I present myself not as a boss, but as a servant. And most importantly, we as a nation will be able to march forward together. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, please remember that we have an opportunity to redefine our history, an opportunity to start over again. This opportunity is coming on the 15th of January to end the hate, to end the historical injustices, to end tribalism, and to rebuild our country. I am sure Ugandans, especially the young ones, love each other. They want to live together, but they are stuck in the past. It is our opportunity. Unchain and unhinge and move forward. Therefore, I call upon all of you to vote for me. Yes, I have the highest respect for all these contenders right here, but I'm the best choice. The people of Uganda have shown it to you. It is only a pretender that will not agree that the person elected to be president of Uganda in 2021 was Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. The people of Uganda have consistently shown it to you from the north to the south, from the east to the west. None of the candidates can win me in an election, even in their own backyard. Therefore, I might fail to convince them, join the winning team. But you, the people of Uganda, have always taken a lead. You have led us, please lead us, let us liberate our country, and forever we shall end this slavery. I thank you for God and my country.
I hear some people saying that I am their servant. I'm not a servant of anybody.
I stand before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of the people. Thank you.
I'm not working for, I'm working for myself. I'm not working for other people. I'm working for my grandchildren, for my children.
I don't have another country. Uganda is my country. So I either live in a dignified country or I be remembered as a Ugandan who died trying to make a better Uganda. So it's important for me to raise the voice for as long as I can.
I owe nothing to nobody. There's nobody I care about.
I'll crush those enemies as we have done in the past.
While the West sings about democracy, I believe they actually prefer to deal with dictators in Africa for as long as their neo-colonialist interests are served. Today, Total Energies of France is the biggest shareholder in an oil pipeline which runs from Uganda through Tanzania. So now we see that when Africa is in chaos, the West is in business. Finally, brothers and sisters, I want to take this opportunity at this historical event to appeal directly to all my African-American brothers and sisters. Please, please, and please tell your governments through your elected representatives in Congress to stop sponsoring tyranny in Africa. Please tell your American government to stop sponsoring oppression in Africa.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are based on publicly available information, news sources, and independent analysis. Afriscope TV does not claim to represent any government, political party, or movement. Our goal is to amplify African voices, educate the public, and spark meaningful conversations on global and continental issues. We encourage our audience to engage critically, verify facts independently, and participate in peaceful, lawful civic discourse. This content is for informational and educational purposes only.